The classroom door slammed shut with a bang that echoed like a gunshot, trapping 16-year-old Mia Carter in a suffocating circle of sneers. Her heart pounded so hard she could feel it in her throat as Ethan, the tallest of the three boys, grabbed her collar, his knuckles grazing her chin with a roughness that made her flinch. "What's wrong, Mouse?" Too scared to squeak. His voice was a blade, sharp and mocking, slicing through the quiet of the empty classroom. Caleb's hyena-like laugh grated against her ears, and Ryan's phone glinted in the corner of her eye, capturing every second of her humiliation. Mia's trembling hands clutched her sketchbook, its worn edges her only anchor in a world that felt too loud, too cruel. She was the shy girl, the one who never spoke, whose entire existence was poured into the delicate lines of her drawings: dragons, forests, worlds where she could be brave. But today, something inside her was splintering, a crack widening with every taunt, and it wasn't her spirit. Mia had spent her life perfecting the art of invisibility. Since her family moved to this small, weathered town of Westview a year ago, she'd learned to blend into the gray lockers and chipped classroom walls of Westview High. Her wavy brown hair fell like a curtain over her hazel eyes, which saw everything but revealed nothing. She wasn't weak, not physically, at least. Her dad, a former martial arts instructor with a laugh as warm as summer, had taught her self-defense since she was 6, his calloused hands guiding her through katas in their old garage. "It's not about fighting, Mia," he'd say, his voice steady. "It's about protecting what's yours, your heart, your peace." She'd nod, promising to stay safe, to stay small. But after his death 2 years ago, a sudden heart attack that stole him in the night, her world had shrunk further, her voice with it. Her mom, a nurse working double shifts, tried to fill the gap, but Mia carried her grief like a shadow, heavy and silent. The bullying hadn't started right away. At first, it was just whispers in the halls, snickers about her thrift store sweaters, her weird sketchbook filled with fantastical creatures. Ethan, with his sharp jaw and sharper tongue, noticed her first. He was the kind of boy who thrived on attention, his charisma a magnet for followers like Caleb, stocky and loud, who amplified Ethan's cruelty with crude jokes, and Ryan, lanky and sly, who filmed it all, chasing likes on social media. It began with small cruelties: her books, accidentally, knocked from her hands, her backpack dumped in the cafeteria, her pencils snapped in half. Mia endured it, swallowing the hurt, telling herself it would pass. She'd sit in the back of class, sketching, her pencil scratching out worlds where she wasn't the target. But the boys smelled weakness, and they hunted it. That afternoon, after art club, they'd followed her into the empty classroom. She'd stayed late to finish a sketch, a dragon with eyes like her dad's, fierce yet kind. The door had barely clicked shut when Ethan blocked it, his grin predatory. Caleb cracked his knuckles, a performance for Ryan's camera. "Let's see that dumb book," Ethan said, yanking her collar. The fabric dug into her neck, and Mia's breath hitched. "Say something, Mouse," Caleb taunted, leaning so close she could smell his cheap cologne. Ryan snickered, his phone steady. Mia's chest tightened, her pulse a drumbeat. She wasn't mute. She was exhausted from the knot in her stomach every morning, from checking corners before turning them, from being the prey in a game she never chose to play. Her dad's voice cut through the fog. "Control your fear, Mia. It's just energy. Use it." Her fingers tightened on her sketchbook, the edges crumpling under her grip. Ethan reached for it, his hand brushing her arm, and that was the moment the crack inside her shattered. In a heartbeat, she twisted her body, breaking his grip with a move her dad had drilled into her 1,000 times: wrist lock, redirect force. Ethan stumbled, his eyes wide with shock, and a yelp escaped his lips. Caleb lunged, his bulk making the floor creak, but Mia was faster. She sidestepped, grabbed his arm, and used his momentum to send him crashing into a desk, which screeched across the tile. Ryan's phone wavered, his mouth agape. "Drop it," Mia said, her voice low but steady, cutting through the chaos like a blade. He did, the phone clattering to the floor. The room fell silent, save for Ethan's ragged breathing and Caleb's groan as he clutched his arm. Then the door swung open. Ms. Harper, the art teacher, stood frozen, her paint-stained apron still tied from club. "What in God's name is going on?" Her voice was sharp, her eyes darting from Mia's trembling hands to the boys' stunned faces. Mia's stomach dropped. She'd protected herself, but at what cost? Suspension. Expulsion. Her sketchbook felt heavy, a lifeline she might lose. Ethan rubbed his wrist, his bravado gone. Caleb scrambled to his feet, muttering curses. Ryan stared at his phone like it had betrayed him. Ms. Harper's gaze softened as it landed on Mia. Everyone, sit. Now. The fallout was a storm. The principal, Mr. Daniels, called an emergency meeting in his cramped office, the air thick with tension. Ethan's mom, a woman with a pinched face and a voice like a siren, pointed at Mia. She attacked my son. She's dangerous. Caleb's dad, a burly man in a flannel shirt, nodded, his arms crossed. Ryan's parents, quieter, exchanged uneasy glances, their son slouched beside them, avoiding eye contact. Mia's mom, Emily, sat ramrod straight, her nurse's scrubs still creased from a long shift. She held Mia's hand under the table, her grip fierce. Mia doesn't start fights, she said, her voice calm but unyielding. But she knows how to finish them. Those boys cornered her. Mr. Daniels, a practical man with tired eyes, reviewed the security footage. It showed everything: Ethan grabbing Mia's collar, Caleb crowding her, Ryan filming. Mia's response was precise, controlled, no wild swings, no malice, just enough force to stop them. Self-defense, Mr. Daniels ruled, though he gave Mia a week of detention for escalating the situation. The boys got 2 weeks suspension, a blow to their egos more than their records. Ethan's face burned with humiliation, Caleb muttered half-hearted apologies, Ryan deleted the video, his hands shaking. Mia sat quietly, her mom's hand still in hers, but inside, she was reeling. She'd stood up for herself, but the world felt heavier now. The real challenge wasn't the punishment, it was what came after. School was different. The whispers followed her like a shadow. That's the girl who took down Ethan. Some kids called her a badass, their eyes wide with awe, others stepped wide around her, as if she might snap their arms too. The nickname, Mouse, was gone, replaced by something new, something Mia didn't recognize. She felt exposed, her invisibility stripped away. At home, her mom pulled her into a tight hug. I'm so proud of you, she said, her voice cracking. But I'm scared too, Mia. You can't hide anymore. People see you now. Mia nodded, her throat tight. She didn't want to be seen. She just wanted to feel safe again. Detention became her sanctuary. Ms. Harper supervised, her classroom a haven of paint fumes and soft music. Instead of assigning busywork, she let Mia draw, her pencil scratching out new worlds, castles rising from mist, warriors with her dad's eyes. You've got a gift, Ms. Harper said one day, peering at a sketch of a dragon curled around a glowing orb. Don't let anyone make you feel small for it. Mia managed a small smile, the first in days. But the weight of the incident lingered. She saw it in the way Ethan avoided her gaze in the halls, in Caleb's hunched shoulders, in Ryan's sudden quietness. They weren't monsters, she realized, just boys, caught in their own insecurities, desperate to feel big by making her feel small. One afternoon, Ryan showed up in detention, his suspension over but his guilt heavy. He sat across from her, fidgeting with a pencil. I'm sorry, he mumbled, eyes on the table. I didn't think it'd go that far. Mia studied him, saw the shame in his slumped posture, the way his hands shook. Why'd you do it? She asked, her voice steady but curious. He shrugged, his cheeks red. Ethan said it was funny. I just followed. I wanted to fit in. His honesty stung, but it also cracked something open in Mia. She saw her own fear reflected in him, the fear of not belonging, of being invisible in a different way. That moment shifted something. Mia started talking more, first to Ms. Harper, who listened without judgment, then to Lila, a girl from art club with bright eyes and a laugh that filled the room. Lila had always smiled at Mia but never pushed, and when she saw Mia's sketches, she gasped, these are incredible. You're, like, a secret genius. They started eating lunch together, Lila chattering about manga and comics, coaxing Mia out of her shell. For the first time, Mia felt the edges of friendship, fragile but real. She still checked corners, still flinched at loud voices, but the knot in her stomach loosened, just a little. The hardest challenge came weeks later, in the crowded hallway between classes. Ethan approached her, his usual swagger gone, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. Kids slowed, watching, expecting a scene. Mia tensed, her hand brushing the strap of her backpack, ready to bolt. I was a jerk, Ethan said, his voice low, almost lost in the hum of the crowd. I didn't know about your dad. Or, you know, the karate stuff. His eyes flicked to hers, uncertain, searching. Mia's heart raced. Was this a trick? Another game? Why do you care now? She asked, her voice sharp. He shifted, uncomfortable. My mom's been on my case. Says I'm better than this. Maybe she's right. It wasn't a perfect apology, but it was raw, unguarded. Mia saw the boy behind the bully, the one who'd learned cruelty because it was easier than facing his own flaws. She nodded, not forgiving fully, but letting go of the hate that had been eating her. Don't do it again, she said, and walked away, her head high. Spring brought change. Mia joined the art club officially, her sketches pinned up in the school's spring showcase. Lila helped her arrange them, her excitement infectious as she pitched ideas for a comic they could create together. Ethan and Caleb faded into the background, their pack dissolved, their power diminished. Ryan started sitting with quieter kids, his phone tucked away, his laughter softer. Mia still felt the urge to shrink, to hide in her sketches, but she fought it. She wore her dad's old dojo jacket to school one day, its faded black fabric like armor. A freshman, a nervous boy with glasses, asked about it. It's my dad's, Mia said, her voice steady. He taught me how to stand up for myself. The boy smiled, and Mia felt a spark of something new, pride. The rumors about that day in the classroom grew, exaggerated into legend, Mia snapping arms, flipping boys like action movie heroes. But the truth was quieter, deeper. It wasn't about violence, it was about breaking silence. Mia wasn't fearless, fear still woke her some nights, whispering that she'd never belong. But she'd learned to channel it, to let it fuel her instead of paralyze her. At the showcase, as strangers admired her sketches, Ms. Harper pulled her aside. You're stronger than you know, Mia, she said, tapping her arm, then her chest. Not just here, but here. Standing by her artwork, watching Lila laugh with new friends, Mia felt her dad's presence, not in the moves she'd used, but in the courage she'd found. She wasn't invisible anymore, and that was okay. The world could be cruel, but it could also be kind, if you gave it a chance. Mia was ready to take that chance, one sketch, one step, one day at a time. Her story wasn't about breaking bones or winning fights. It was about a girl who'd been pushed too far and found her voice, who learned that strength wasn't about hiding but about standing tall, even when your hands shook. For every shy kid, every outsider, every soul who felt too small for the world, Mia's journey carried a message. Your strength is there, quiet but fierce, waiting for the moment you decide to claim it. And when you do, the world will see you, not as a mouse, but as a force, unbreakable and true.